Arvind, thank you very much for taking time to have this conversation today.
My
It's
pleasure.
really a great thrill for us that you have been appointed as the vice chairman of the National Institute for the Transformation of India. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Arvind, after 11 years on our faculty, I know you previously served as chief economist of an international organization, but here you are stepping into a cabinet post in a direct policy-making role. How do you feel about that? Do you feel ready for it?
Well, for something like this, you're never ready. It is a huge, huge challenge, but it's also a big opportunity. For somebody like me, really, it's a dream come true kind of thing because, economists, we generally are trained to do our theory and stay in our ivory towers. But in my case, the evolution was a bit different. I think, I did in my early years a lot of trade theory. So I was really, for most part of my academic life, really a theorist. But I have been at SIPA last 11 years and then written particularly on India, also on trade policy, which is my sort of original field. But I did a major book on India, India the Emerging Giant. And after that, I did a major project on India, which led to this last work called Why Growth Matters. And that sort of work that I have done, particularly at SIPA, truly prepared me, I would say, for the kind of work now I am doing and I will be doing in India.
Well, on a personal note, I'm sure the Prime Minister and his team came to know you through your written works and the important research that you have undertaken. But could you share with us just a little bit about how it came to pass that you have joined the Modi cabinet?
That's a complicated question. I suppose, I was one of the early ones who saw the value of what the Prime Minister was doing in Gujarat. Then in 2012, I had gone and met him. He was very gracious, so I had about 1 hour meeting with him on one-on-one. So perhaps that helped inspire some confidence on his part into me. And then I sort of continued to write on the policies as things happened from 2012 to 2014 till his election. And to the credit of the Prime Minister, he did not hold my criticisms of some of what he had done or had not done against me. And his confidence remained. So here I am.
So, what do you see your mandate today as the new head of this agency that is really charged with, I think, if I'm understanding, and I invite you to amplify, to do the analytics around the reform agenda and also to advance ideas on how to implement the reform agenda. So, what does that mean? What's the mandate?
So one of the key areas where really the present Prime Minister is keen is the cooperative federalism. So this institution, in any case, the predecessor institution of this institution, the Planning Commission, used to do some of this, but in a very different sort of way. Now, that is changing very rapidly. The role in channelizing money through the new institution, the NITI, is much diminished. Instead, we are proceeding on different sort of way. But the Prime Minister really is very keen that we begin this relationship in a more kind of cordial, friendly way with the states. For example, we find out in which states what has been done that has been successful, then disseminate to the other states, and therefore become a conduit for spreading the best practices of different states. And we can also, of course, learn from other countries if certain things have worked in other countries that are worth emulating for the Indian states, then that also we disseminate to the states.
Let me ask you about the openness of the Indian economy in light of the development strategy that's now being pursued. Do you think India is going to be more open to foreign direct investment? Do you see it as trying to be an economy that liberalizes its trade regime as well? How do you think about those issues?
So most of the sectors, virtually all sectors, are open to foreign investment. One big exception that remains, which has been in news, of course, is the retail sector. But in most other areas, the foreign investment is allowed. The present government, actually, even within its 8 months or 9 months of existence, has opened wider at least two important sectors. Defense had been completely closed. So 26% foreign investment is now allowed in defense. And after a very long drawn struggle for almost 15 years in the insurance sector, finally the government has carried the legislation through to raise the cap from 26% to 49%. So there's certainly very good recognition of it. As in any democracy, the movement is slower than it can be in an authoritarian regime, but direction is clearly well set.
The Prime Minister is collaborating with Japan and negotiating certain new agreements with China. And of course, it seems like a very successful visit by President Obama.
Yes.
So how do you see India's foreign economic policy developing?
No, so in this respect, this Prime Minister is a bit different from his predecessors. Even before elections, when he was giving interviews to the press, he always said that, when we go for diplomacy, what are we doing? Diplomacy today ought to be all about economic diplomacy. He also tries to assure that, look, a lot of the investments get stuck in the Indian bureaucratic system, and I'm going to personally see. So any of that really large investments, he tries to oversee himself. He works, is well known, he works about 20 hours a day and all 7 days a week. So there is a lot he personally kind of oversees, and so he has been working hard actually himself to shake the bureaucracy so that projects that used to get stuck will not get stuck, and with some fair bit of success, but still there's a long way to go.
Well, you'll have to prepare yourself for that kind of
Yes.
schedule, I think.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're very proud of you to have taken on this responsibility. It seems like the perfect appointment, someone who has been thinking deeply about India's future for your entire professional career, and now you have a chance to put your ideas into action.
Yes.
We're really very proud, and thank you for taking time for this
Thank you.
discussion.